was a long road to learn this simple lesson. The path to Allah is through His messengers, and since I love Allah, I will follow His messenger. The sunnah of the chosen one, the one who established the deen, the ambassador of Allah, the teacher, the warner, the exemplar, the best creations, Muhammad.
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على رحمة المهدى والنعمة المسدى محمد بن عبد الله الرسول المصطفى النبي المجتبى الحبيب المرتضى وعلى آله وصحابة النصابي والهدى وبدور الدجى وتابعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. We thank Allah, we adore Him, we give praises to Him, we acknowledge and accept His supremacy over us, we testify to His uniqueness and oneness, we testify and accepted His supremacy as the controller of the universe, the controller of affairs, the giver of life, the taker of faith, the provider of the living, and the giver of the dead. We ask Allah to continue to bless the soul of our noble Prophet Muhammad, our leader, our patron, our master, the one that Allah has sent to explain His deen to us and to guide us from the path of destruction to the path of righteousness. We ask Allah to continue to bless the soul of our noble Prophet Muhammad, his companion of eminence, members of his household, and those who listen, see, and hear the guidance that the Prophet has left till today of Qiyamah. Today, we're going to talk about righteousness. The world is destroyed today. The world is in disarray. The world is not settled despite our sophistication in monitoring ourselves, our sophistication in the security, trying to secure ourselves. Yet we have increase in crime, increase in hatred, increase in injustice, increase in every part of our lives. That means we all need to do something. We all need to go back to the basics. We all need to go back to Allah. We all need to go back to why Allah created man and what is the responsibility of man in this world. To this, Allah says, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. A simple high. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ليس البر أن تولوا وجوهكم قبل المشرق والمغرب ولكن البر من آمن بالله وملائكته والكتاب والنبيين وآتى المال على حبه ذوي القربى واليتامى والمساكين وابن السبيل والساحرين وفي الركاب وكان الصلاة وآتى الزكاة والموفون بأهل إذا أعظم والصابرين في البأساء والضراء وحين البأس أولئك الذين صدقوا أولئك هم المتقون صدق الله العظيم. Now, we were taught by Allah that righteousness. The Prophet ﷺ says that al-birru husnul khulq. Righteousness is to reform our behavior, is to reform our character, is to reform our interpersonal skills. The world will be good when Muslims are good. Allah has said, كنتم خير الأمة أخرجت للناس تأمرون بالمعروف وتنهون عن المنكر. The world is destroyed, the world is corrupt because we are corrupt. The world is corrupt because we have moved away from what Allah has taught us to what our hearts and the circumstances have dictated for us. Muslims must not believe living by the dictate of the environment and emerging circumstance. There's a path that Allah has led that we must follow. So when we follow it, how the whole world is right, when we decided not to follow it, the whole world is corrupt. كنتم خير أمة أخرجت للناس. You are the best community that Allah has raised for mankind. Why? This was an honor. No honor is attached, is given, except it is attached with a responsibility. And what is the responsibility? تأمرون بالمعروف وتنهون عن المنكر. You command, you enjoy the good, and you forbid evil. And you believe in Allah. This is the honor and this is the responsibility attached to it. And Allah says, righteousness is not facing the east or facing the west. لكن البر من آمن بالله. You believe in Allah. You believe in the supremacy of Allah. You believe in the supremacy in the creation of Allah. Not believing in Allah as human. Believing in His existence despite the fact that you don't see Him, but you see what He does. I was discussing with an atheist, and he told me that he doesn't believe in God. And I said, good. I want to give you an example. If the teacher or lecturer in the university, in every class, you have a class rep. The class rep gives you information about what goes on in the class. Am I right? Now, if the class rep comes, like the prophet came to us and says, there was God. If the class rep came and said, tomorrow there's going to be a test and attendance is 50%. For you to attend, you have 50%. And some of us say, if the lecturer cannot come to us himself, we are not going to agree. Tomorrow comes, if tomorrow comes, for those of us who attend the class, we have 50%. If the teacher comes, if the teacher fails to come, we lose nothing. So if we die, and after death that we all believe, because I'm sure No one can raise up his hands here that we are not going to die. My parents are dead. Their parents are dead. So I'm going to die. And my children are going to die. You understand? So, tomorrow comes and the cheater fails to appear. We lose nothing. If we die, and after death, we discover that Allah exists, then those who do not believe in Allah are in big trouble. For those of us who believe in Allah, our problems are limited. Because by our belief we are saved. Then the remaining is about our character. Man amana billah wa malaikati. Believe in Allah. Believe in His angels and the function. The angels are not God. They are not the children of God. They are messengers. They are makhluk. Like us. They can be punished. Like some angels are punished. Wal Kitab, and the books that Allah has revealed, and the prophets that Allah has sent. La nufariqu bayna ahadin min rusul. We do not discriminate between the prophets of Allah. There's no discrimination. And because righteousness is about our character. In Medina, the Prophet ﷺ, his lectures were not so much. You understand? His character invited people to Islam. People who accepted Islam in Medina, 90% of them were people who were attracted to Islam by the behavior and the character of the Prophet. When the section of the few who are looking for guidance, but generally, most of the people who accepted Islam in Medina were people who had close contact with Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But today, who are we? As Muslims, are we upholding the character? Because Allah Himself says, Allah Himself said to the Prophet, وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَّى خُلْقٍ عَظِيمٍ. Character, our behavior is very important. Wherever we are, let the people know that you're so cool, you're quiet, not because you're stupid, but because you're upholding a good conduct, which was explained and practiced by the master and the patron of our Ummah, Muhammad the son of Abdul. Now, where and how are those things that brings us together? وَآتَ الْمَالَ عَلَى حُبِّهِ. You don't need to be rich before you give sadaqah. You don't need to have everything. You understand? You don't need to have everything, because from the little that you have, you must be able to spare. Because you have to have the understanding that no matter how poor you are, there are people whose situation are worse than your own. You must be able to make more sacrifice. I was reading something somebody said to me. He said, you have to live your life throughout your life like Ramadan. Every day of a Muslim's life must be a day of Ramadan, so that your hereafter can be a day of Eid. You live your life like Ramadan, so that your hereafter can be Eid. ذَوَى الْقُرْبَى, those who are close to you. Those your neighbors that were close to you. Your neighbors that were Muslims, your neighbors that were not Muslims, your neighbors who hate you. Who hates you not because of your color, not because of your face, not because of your height, but because of the fact that you say, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, wahdahu la sharika lah. You have to be good to them. You'll be good to them because you need to teach them that you cannot compare good and bad, but you need what bil You have to exchange the bad character which he or she has presented to you with good. Zawal Khutbah, your family, your relation. Some people are so, going on holiday is very important to people. They take their family on holiday while their immediate family, they want their daughter, their son to go to Hawaii for summer, while their nephews, their cousins need just little to survive. I frown against this. In my country, where I come from, for anyone to go to school, the least you need to go to school for a year is less than 500 pounds. The least you need to go to school for a year is less than 500 pounds. Into university. But you see people spend thousands and thousands of dollars, of pounds, taking their family for holiday, where their immediate family, cousins, brothers are suffering. In fact, some of them are at the point of death in the hospital. Some of them need little money to buy medicine to survive. Who says that those children that you're taking for holiday will live longer? Well, as Muslims, we need an attitude and a change. We need to change our attitude. We need to change our behavior. We need to really go back. ظهر الفساد في البحر والبحر بما كسبت أيدي الناس. This world, the heart is corrupt, the sea is corrupt, the air is corrupt, the mountain is corrupt, the forest is corrupt. Why? Because of what man has done. The animals don't corrupt. They have their style. Animals will only kill to eat, to survive. Man has stolen more than they can eat. I tell you, even here, they blame Africa for corruption, but here there are more corrupt people here as well. Even the system itself corrupts. The system devours the poor to empower the rich. You tell somebody? They hate family. They hate family here, you know that. For you to be a family, you pay more. For you to be a single mother, you get something. Because children that are raised by one person, it's only by Allah. So we need to change. We need to have the heart that is full of mercy to those who are below us. A scholar recited a dua. He said, Allahumma ijjal atfi fi kulub al-haqniya lil-fuqara. Oh Allah, put in the heart of the rich mercy for the poor. I pray that Allah will do that I pray that Allah will give us the same. I pray that the little that I've said, Allah will manifest it in the heart of everybody. أقول قولي هذا أستغفر الله لي ولكم. إن الحمد لله نشكره ونستعينه ونتوكل عليه. إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. Allah has commanded us to hold justice, to be just, especially I read an hadith some times ago. It says that Allah says, اشتدت غضبي على من ظلم من ليس له ناصرا غيره. That the anger of Allah will be severe on the one who has acted unjustly against the one who has no helper except Allah. I give you an example. A clear example. When Hitler destroyed the Jews, even before then, when the anti-Semitic problem happens in Europe here, the only safe haven for the Jews when the Muslims lost Spain, when the Muslim lands go back to history. That's why you find Jews in Jordan, in Morocco, in Tunisia, in Egypt, because the only people, the only set of people who will accommodate the Jews are the Muslims. When the Jews were destroyed by Hitler, the only people, taking a one person uses the land of a second person to pacify a third person in Palestine. The whole world came together to support the Jews. Today, no single person in the world today is ready to support the Muslim in Palestine. But I tell you, Allah will be there for them. Allah will be there for them. We need to be good. Wa'ita is al-Khutbah for our brothers and families. We need to extend good hands of fellowship to them. وَيَنْيَا عَنَ الْفَخْشَاءِ وَالْمُنْكَرِ وَالْبَغْيِ. And Allah has said that we should desist from all acts of evil and not to associate ourselves with evil. Allah has said this, that يَعِيذُكُمْ لَعَلَكُمْ تَذَكَّرُونَ, so that we can remind ourselves every time. The prayer request here that one of our brothers, Alhaji Abdul, who passed away 10 years ago, was sent by Alhaji Saria that we should recite prayers for him and all our dead. الذين شهدوا لك بالوحدانية ولنبيك بالرسالة وماتوا على ذلك. اللهم اغفر لهم وارحمهم وعافهم واعف عنهم واكرم نزلهم ووسع مدخلهم واغسلهم بالماء والثلج والبرد ونقيهم من الذنوب والخطايا كما ينك الثوب الحميد والدنس. اللهم اجعل في حسناته حسانا وبالسيئات عفوا وغفران لا يكون في بطون احد مطمئنين وعند قيام الاشهار امنين والى اهل جنتك سالكين. اللهم انقلهم جميعا من ذكر الخوف ومناطق الدور الى جنتك جنة الخلود بسر المقبول وطلح ممدود وظل ممدود يا غفور يا ودود. اللهم ارحمنا اذا سرنا الى الله واعز الاسلام والمسلمين واضل الشرك والمشركين ودمر اعضاء الدين. اللهم انصرنا على عدونا، اللهم انصرنا على عدونا وعدوك يا رب العالمين. اللهم انك المسجد الاقصى من بلاد اليهود، اللهم انهم قد طغوا وبغوا واسرفوا في الطغيان، اللهم اخرجهم منه يا رب العالمين، اللهم اخرجهم يا رب العالمين. اللهم هذا الطغوا منك الاجابه وهذا الجود عليك التكلان ولا حول ولا قوه الا بالله العلي العظيم. اللهم الهنا ما قصر عن روحنا ولم تبلغ مسألتنا من خيري الدنيا والآخرة، فإننا نسألك إياه ونركب إليك في يا رب العالمين. ربنا تقبل